do not buy or do not get into it or do not bring this with you. Hi guys, my name is Oliver. Welcome to a new video. I'm very happy to see you again here for another China video. And it's not gonna be a vlog, but I'm gonna show you a lot of parts from the vlogs that I recorded when I was in China. But this video is all about my tips, my 10 tips that I wrote down that I wish someone had told me before I went to China. My first few hours were very chaotic. I was in pure stress and I actually made a big mistake not preparing my trip. So I will dive into the 10 tips that I could write down that really are gonna help you when you are traveling to China. If you are Chinese and watching this video, please comment down below on this video if you think that you wanna add another tip or if you think that I may be wrong about a tip, right? I would love to get in contact with you and see if I could help more people with China tips, with tips for traveling to China. So before we dive into the video, please like this video and subscribe to my channel as well. I make a bunch of travel vlogs. That is my main content, right? Where I go to different countries and I vlog myself and show you guys around in those different countries. But I also want to make more videos about digital nomad and tips and travel guides so that you are prepared for your next trip to whatever country. And in this video, it is China. So thanks again for watching and let's dive right into it. I have been to Shenzhen in China and I had the best time of my life there, to be honest. But the travel started terrible. And if I say terrible, I literally mean horrendous. Let me show you a few clips of my China vlog there when I arrived to Shenzhen with the train, the bullet train from Hong Kong. Oh my god.
Oh, another round of security. Wow, okay.
I'm in the baggage lane now and there's a lot of people in front of me and my train is literally leaving in like 8 minutes. So I don't think I'm gonna make it. I wonder what I have to do when I don't make it. Maybe there's like a train with non-reserved seats and I'll just take that one, you know? Oh, I literally just missed my train, guys. I was 4 minutes in time, but then they say no, they closed 5 minutes before. You cannot buy a ticket with credit cards or visas or MasterCards. They don't accept it. So I have to go out to get cash now. And that's really annoying because I'm literally here for only 1 day. Okay, I asked this officer again and he said there's no ATM. So how am I supposed to get cash? How am I supposed to get cash? Yeah, so as you can see, I run into a lot of problems and that is why my first tip to you is to prepare your trip. Know where you're going and know what you really need, right? So actually, preparing your trip means watching this video because I will give you the tips that you need in order to prepare your trip. I mean, the biggest thing that you have to keep in mind is obviously your visa, right? If you're not a European like me, then it's hard to get a visa and you should apply for a visa. So always Google first if you need a visa, if there are any visa requirements for China to travel to with your passport. But in my case, it was pretty easy. China gives me a free visa on arrival for 15 days. So I was really happy and I didn't really have to apply for anything. So I got really lucky, I know that. But probably for you, if you're not a European, it will be a different scenario. So definitely Google that and prepare your visa requirements before traveling to China. And it doesn't really matter if you enter the country by bus, if you enter it by train or by airplane, you will have to go through customs and security and there are probably more rounds of security there. It's a pretty long process, so also calculate a couple of hours for that. That was my first mistake, which resulted in missing my train, so I had to book myself onto another train that departed later so I could still go to China, but I really underestimated that process. I am literally pissed off because of this. Like, this is terrible, honestly. What the hell? So if you want to make sure that you can walk through customs and security, the different rounds of security into China smoothly, then definitely make sure that you have done your research and have been approved for your visa application. So as I said before, it was a terrible first few hours for me in China, and that was because I got surprised with one thing after the other. I like to travel to countries without doing much of a research, and I am actually used, and that is also my mistake, that I could just enter every country visa on arrival, most of the Asian countries, right? I could go to Malaysia, Thailand, Japan, Philippines, South Korea without having to apply for a visa before I travel there. I literally just go there and they stamp my passport, maybe ask me a couple of questions, but it's really easy process. So I expected that from China as well, which happened. I mean, they didn't ask me any questions and they stamped my passport and they gave me a visa on arrival. But there were many other things that I got very surprised about. And one of those things is cash, because you are not able to pay with credit card. Like I have MasterCard and I have Visa, I have different credit cards and I even have Maestro cards, but they all don't work in China. They don't work, guys. So always take cash with you. And when I arrived to Shenzhen station, when I got off the bullet train, I wanted to get cash because I couldn't pay with card anywhere. I couldn't buy a metro ticket with my credit card. So I had to pay in cash and I did not have any cash on me. So I had to find an ATM, which was impossible. I literally asked 2 police officers in different locations on the train station and they both told me that there is no ATM on the whole station. So I walked towards the mall that was closed. There was also a McDonald's there, so I thought there must be an ATM somewhere. I literally searched every corner of that mall and I couldn't find a single ATM.
Okay, I asked the police, but they don't really speak English. They were like, "Rah, rah, 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 rah." So I was like, okay. Oh shit, it's completely closed here. There's nothing here. What am I gonna do?
Yeah. Maybe that was my bad because maybe there were ATMs, but I just didn't look long enough. But I was literally searching for over an hour and I couldn't find it. So I was like, oh my goodness, what am I gonna do, right? Because I couldn't pay with my credit card, I couldn't pay with Apple Pay, and there was no ATM to get cash. So I was like, I'm trapped here. So before you enter China, make sure to change your cash into some of the Chinese currency, and you can do that before crossing the border, right? There is a lot of exchange offices everywhere, so just walk into there, get your euros or dollars, exchange them to Chinese currency, and then just go into China with cash. It's very important because you can obviously pay with cash everywhere. But if you're not a huge fan of cash like me, I always pay with card everywhere I go, to be honest. I had to get myself out of that situation because I had no cash and I couldn't pay with my cards. So what did I do? And that is also my second tip for you. Download Alipay before entering China. Because what you can do with Alipay is amazing. Actually, you can travel with Alipay. It generates a public transport QR code where you can just tap in the metro or the bus system and you can pay in restaurants. Instead of paying with credit card, you just let them scan your QR code on your Alipay app on your phone and you pay with that. It is so easy. And what you do as a foreigner, you link your credit card to Alipay. So every time you pay with Alipay, it is actually being deducted from your credit card. So in that way, you can actually pay with credit card in China without having to pay with the physical credit card, if you know what I mean, right? So when I got the restaurants, I was very surprised that I could pay with Alipay everywhere. And also in the metro, I could pay with Alipay everywhere.
And they accept Alipay, so that's good. It is so easy actually, but they generate a new QR code every time, all the time.
So now I already talked about the 3 biggest tips I could give you, right? So prepare your trip, bring cash with you, and download Alipay and link your credit cards before you enter China. These are literally the 3 biggest tips I could give you. Now, the 4th tip is tricky because it is globally known that China has blocked Western apps like Instagram, Google, or Facebook, you name it. So you won't be able to use WhatsApp or Instagram when you are traveling to China. At least all those apps don't work when you are on Wi-Fi. But if you buy a VPN, you are still able to text your friends and scroll on Instagram because you are placing yourself and your internet connection in a country in the Western world. I will put the VPN that I use the most in the description here so you can check it out and also purchase it if you're interested in that. Otherwise, there is another option, and that is buying a eSIM with which you are able to scroll on Instagram as well, but only if you are on 5G. What I do is I buy my eSIMs on Eralo, and they're pretty cheap and they're very stable, fast internet, 5G everywhere in China. I leave the link for you in the description as well. Use my code to get $3 off. Eralo also offers regional eSIMs where you can travel to different countries without having to purchase a separate eSIM for that country or change physical SIM cards. This is not a sponsored video. I just want to talk about the convenience it gives me when I'm traveling, and obviously something that you really need when you travel to China. And because China has banned a lot of Western apps, Google Maps is also not available. nothing is on there. You cannot find for restaurants, you cannot really find the right hotels on there, so it is very limited. Instead of Google Maps, you maybe want to consider using a Chinese alternative, like Baidu, for example, but those apps are mainly focused on Chinese people and everything will be in Chinese, so it's pretty hard to navigate if you don't speak Mandarin, okay? So I would advise you to use Apple Maps, which works way better than Google Maps when you are in China. Let me show you a screenshot of Apple Maps before entering China and after entering China. When you are actually in China and connected to the Chinese network, Apple Maps shows you much more. It literally shows you all the metro lines and all the restaurants. But when you are in Hong Kong, kind of outside China, I know it's part of China, but apps just work differently there. You see that Apple Maps is barely showing you anything. So I got very surprised that Apple Maps was working perfectly when I was in China, and because I don't really use Apple Maps, I really had to get used to using that and, working with that all the time. Because I am a huge Google Maps fan and I pinned all the location, all the restaurants that I like, that I've been to, I pinned it on my Google Maps. I created different lists of different countries where I've been to and added all my favorite places and activities all to that Google Maps list. And obviously you can download it for free, including my 50 tips, my 50 best travel tips, all in one document. So also the Google Maps pins, right? So I'll leave the link in the description if you want to download that. I think that will be very helpful to you if you visit China or any other country that I created a list of, because you can just see my favorite hotspots and my favorite restaurants and decide to go there as well. Well, then the next tip that I want to give you is that it's going to be very convenient and very helpful if you have Google Translate, the application, download it onto your phone and then download Chinese language, the simplified Chinese language, download it. That when you don't have internet, you can still translate from your own language to Chinese. And this is one of the biggest tips I can give you because it helped me a lot. A lot of people inside China don't speak English. I had to order food or ask directions, for example, or I don't know, like communicate with people there, and I use Google Translate all the time.
你好.
你好. What's going on? Wait, I'm gonna use Google Translate to talk to her 1 second. But if they don't speak English and you don't speak Chinese, it is gonna be very hard to communicate. So I really advise you to download the Google Translate app and download the Chinese language to use it offline as well. Then the next tip I could give you is bringing a power bank. Oh my god, this saved my life so many times. When I was going to China, I was recording the whole day, right? Because I was only in Shenzhen for 24 hours and I was recording the whole day, everything I did. But I'm recording with my phone, so I had to look up directions, I had to record videos, and if you record videos or take a lot of photos, it is eating your battery. Your battery is going down in no time. So a power bank is something you really need. Now I forgot my power bank, kind of, or it was, I don't know, I don't really remember what happened. Did I lose it?
This is perfect. Oh my god, this is exactly what I needed. Now I can use my power bank and keep recording today. I saved myself again. Perfect.
So I had to buy it right there. And a lot of people, actually Chinese people, they commented under my video saying that you could also rent power banks. I didn't know that. So apparently you can rent power banks, which makes it even easier. If you run out of battery, you just go to those rental places and you charge your phone. But besides that, obviously, if you're walking in a park or you're going for a hike, then probably you don't have these places available to you anywhere close. So I would still advise you to bring a power bank. Now, I have a great power bank. I'll leave the link in the description if you want to purchase the same power bank. And it literally saved me a lot of times. Because I'm recording the whole day, my battery, dies in a few hours, but I need the whole rest of the day to use my phone. So bringing a power bank is really a big tip that I could give you. Well, we're almost out of my tips here, but what I also want to tell you is that you should not do any drugs. China is very safe, but do not buy or do not get into it or do not bring this with you. This is like the biggest tip I could give you, okay? Because China is a very safe country, but they want to keep their people safe and they want to keep their country safe. So they are fighting against drugs. You don't want to run into any problems, and I would tell you literally to not do drugs or bring drugs into any country you're visiting to. and not use it in your own country either, of course, but it's your life, you do whatever you want to do. But if you travel, don't bring anything with you. China is very strict with these kind of things, and all the rounds of security when you cross the border really tell you that. They really make sure that you have nothing on you and that you are a completely normal person entering the country without illegal stuff. And my last tip before you travel to China, what you must know is that most of the hotels are not on booking.com or on Google or on any other Western site. It is really hard to book great hotels, when you are not in China, because they use different apps. So I would recommend you to use Ctrip. Here you can find all the best hotels in China, but before you go to the hotel and you arrive there, after you make the reservation, make sure to send them a message and ask them if they accept foreign passports, because a lot of hotels still don't really accept foreign passports, so it is always good to just check that. I know hotels are improving this and they are accepting more and more, foreign passports, but it is still sometimes a problem. So, better be safe than sorry, right? Send the hotel a message and ask if they accept your passport. So that was it, guys, the 10 tips that I could give you to travel to China. I'm sure you're gonna love China as much as I did, because I think China is amazing and we don't hear enough about China. We don't see China enough on our social media platforms, and it is a beautiful country. The people are amazing and the food is even better. It is delicious. Oh my God. I'll make a separate video about that as well, telling you about my cultural experience there in Shenzhen when I was there. And I definitely want to visit more places in China. Well, if you have been to China, or if you are going to China, or if you are a Chinese citizen or a Chinese person that moved out of China and you're watching this video, make sure to comment down below your favorite place in China, or tell me where you are going so that I could look into it and maybe also travel there and make vlogs about it. I would love to hear your suggestions. What is your favorite place in China that I really cannot miss before I die, right? Alright guys, that was it for today. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. I would appreciate that a lot. And make sure to check out the Chinese playlist here on my YouTube channel with all the Chinese videos. For now, thank you so much. I'll put the video here on screen for you to watch next. This is a very nice one, so click on it and I'll see you there, alright? Bye guys!